it's Romy Aries. Welcome to my channel. This is your October 2021 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, you might find this reading resonates for you. We're aiming to give you some clarity and break the energies down so that you feel more empowered as you make your way through the month. So opening up October with the Chariot. I love this for you because you are indeed going to be on the move. We have a whole series of planets who are waking up from their slumber, retrograde, Pluto, Saturn and Jupiter, and then later in the month, Mercury coming out of that retrograde as well. Now, we also are going to be welcoming a full moon in your sign, so there's something powerful that's coming to fruition. And for me, the whole build-up of October is going to be toward that full moon in your sign, Aries. What does it mean for you? What have you been cultivating internally, investing in since that new moon in your sign back earlier this year? I think you're also going to be challenged in some way through the course of October to really ask yourself some deeper soul-searching questions in terms of relationships, because we have that real emphasis with Libra season of, is it working for me? Is it bringing me peace? Do I see a way forward? Is there space for me to breathe here? Is there room for me to grow? And I think, when we talk about relationships, it's going to be across the board, both personally and professionally. And, we are looking for you to really understand that you're navigating your world in new ways now. And some of the traditional approaches that you've had are not going to serve you or just going to feel clunky now. And so the Chariot, of course, requires a level of courage and determination to kind of see something through and to kind of move through and almost carve a new pathway for ourselves. And so I think this is tough for you, Aries, because in many ways what you're trying to do is like merge an old and a new version of you in this kind of transitionary phase. We've got 3 months left of this year. October is really helping you to join the dots, and there's a new picture emerging for you in terms of what you want your life to be, and perhaps how you see some of those important relationships in your life, what they look like to you. I think you are seeking and wanting to move towards situations and people and conscious connections that feel more secure. 10 of Pentacles, you're really searching for that level of a powerful, strong foundation. But as you are trying to merge the old and the new, I think the challenge here is that we still need anchor points to things that make us feel comfortable enough and are familiar enough to us that we feel confident to keep going. And at the same time, we have to embrace and allow space for so much of the new energy, the new language that's been formed, the new ways that you are receiving information, how you are nurturing a greater sense of trust and certainty in yourself. And, I think there are times where it's like, what version of me do I bring forward in this conversation? And I think what that's going to do in and of itself, Aries, is it's going to make you reflect on the relationships that you have and where people are in terms of how relatable you feel to them, because your values and your philosophy and your outlook on life is changing. And so, when you want to bring that new version of the self forward, are you able to do that in some of these important connections in your life? And if the answer is no, and you see that that person is perhaps not on a, similar trajectory that you are, then you might be, making some bigger choices and decisions about where you're going to be withdrawing your energy or where you want to start investing more. There's a healed version of you that has stepped forward in October if you allow yourself access to it. And, that healed version is really ready to come at things from a place of deeper honesty, more strength, more courage, and, really feeling ready to embrace a different aspect in life. There's something I feel you're really ready to let go of through the month of October, and that full moon is going to be a beautiful time for you to do it. Now, the Two of Swords suggests to me there is a decision to make, but you know what I feel, Aries? I think you've already made it. We've got a new moon in Libra coming in on the 6th. It's going to be conjunct with Mars and trining with the asteroid goddess Ceres, who's the goddess of harvest and nourishment. Now, she's in Gemini, working in that 3rd house for you. And it is all about the way that you are nurturing your higher mind, how this beautiful new sacred language, that you are connecting to spiritually is starting to emerge in how you express yourself, how you think about things. I see this as a delay tactic on your part. And I think that's okay. What do I mean by that? Well, you're very clearly moving towards something that feels more solid and powerful and sustainable for you, not only now but in the future. But you may be coming up against a set of circumstances right now where it isn't the right time to be able to communicate that, or you know you're not going to be able to make all of that journey happen overnight. And so sometimes we'll put ourselves in that place of indecision and saying, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. But if you dig deep, I think, Aries, you know that you are going to do it. It isn't a case of if, it's just a case of when. And because when these planets wake up from the retrograde transits that they've been in, the floodgates do open, but it still takes a little bit of time for us to kind of recalibrate and the energy to start catching up with itself. Just like if you awaken from a really deep sleep, there can be that little bit of a sense of groggy energy. And that kind of jolt forward that we're going to be feeling all the way through October as these energies come in with this cosmic shift. We're bringing in the full energy here. They're bringing with it a sense for you of feeling like, okay, I've got an opportunity now to do something different, to start afresh. And, the full moon is also going to give you a point of culmination so that you can say, okay, this is now wrapped up. I'm now ready to move on from this relationship, or move on from this project, or move on from where I've been investing myself in this way. And maybe it's to the next level, or maybe it's to something completely new. You can't betray what's in your heart because other people aren't able to align with it or understand it. But at the same time, what we're also looking at here with that full energy is this: I don't fully know yet all of the things that are going to be required of me in terms of where I'm going, but I'm still prepared to bet on myself in this instance. And I really see that as a strong theme coming through for Aries in the course of October. You're just going to be building and building that confidence. Now, when Jupiter shifts direct on the 17th, just keep an eye out for the gifts that can come in as a result of that. You now have a new vibrational energy in terms of your ability to attract more abundance into your life. There's a new philosophy that's playing out in terms of your money story here. And of course, in Aquarian energy, that 11th house for you, there may also be something that's very much connected into groups, to communities, to friendships. So there might be a gift that's coming in relation to that for you. So be open to that. The Fool suggests to me as well that there is this sense of valuing your freedom, and Venus shifts into Sagittarius on the 7th. Of course, Venus rules our relationships to money, but also to love. And so you may be seeking a little bit more space or freedom to be able to consider new options or, different approaches. And with this, it's not, I see that you're trying to necessarily move away from people, though for some of you that might be a decision that you are, coming to quite clearly. But with retrograde energy, we are tracking back. And I suppose I want to also remind you of those moments in your life where you were incredibly brave, or you yourself would say, you know what, that saved me. What were you experiencing? How were you able to kind of dig deeper within yourself? What was that truth that emerged for you, Ace of Swords, in that moment that said, okay, this is what I have to do? And when you followed through, what changed as a result of it? Because I do see that you will be challenged this month. You are going to be challenged to be asking those questions. Is it working for me? Is it bringing me peace? Is it giving me space to breathe? Is it giving me room to grow? What does that feel like when you ask these questions in relation to some of the important relationships in your life, even with yourself? 7th house energy in Libra season is a mirror. And often it can reveal some of those shadow aspects of ourselves that we don't want to acknowledge. Well, certainly you're going to get some clarity and truth that's going to come through with that Ace of Swords. And it may be because you want to embark on something. You want to set yourself free from something. You're ready to just bring something up into the daylight so that it can be dealt with once and for all. When Saturn shifts direct in Aquarius, that comes in around the 10th. We have to embrace the difficult, arduous journey, and it's the taskmaster, isn't it? But he's also Lord of karma and timing as well. So there's something about the timing. I feel like you've been waiting for the right moment to be able to have a conversation, to be able to make your move, to be able to announce or share something. Maybe it's within a family environment as well, with that 10 of Pentacles coming in here. But I think, it's richly connected to how much you value yourself and what you're choosing to now invest in that you feel is valuable for you moving forward. Okay, you can't betray yourself anymore. And I think there's something that you feel infinitely more confident to address in October that perhaps has been sitting within you for, maybe a number of weeks or even months. Now, what we also have taking place as we move more deeply into October is the sun shifting into Scorpio. And of course, that's coming into 8th house energy. You've got your King of Pentacles coming through here. So is this an earth sign that we're dealing with? Perhaps a Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo. So maybe there's some conversations around investments, around resources, sharing of resources, partnership, discussions, even marriages, divorces, anything that comes in terms of that, how we are investing and the impact that it's having with us. But the other thing about 8th house energy is that all of the encounters that we have relationally are really transformative. So what you can also see is that they will be very catalytic for you this month, Aries. So if you are having conversations this month that are important, they do have a state of longevity and a sense of permanence about them. And it is going to give you the opportunity to completely reinvent or overhaul something. Remember, 8th house is linked into Scorpio, which is the sign of reinvention, rebirth, like the phoenix rising from the ashes. And so something in connection, perhaps to an earth sign or specifically connected to resources or investments or money, is also going to have the opportunity to go through a complete overhaul. Now again, as I look back to this 2 of Swords, and I wanted to say it feels close to home. I've got the 2 birds just sitting on the hat that's actually being shown as a bird house here. So it does feel like we could even be talking about something to do with property or something to do with the immediate family. If this is the case, again, there's a requirement for some powerful truths to emerge here. But I do think you have the opportunity to embark or initiate something that kind of create a completely different environment. This is back to what we talked about in terms of you can't navigate your world in the traditional ways anymore, and this merging of the old and the new version of you through this transitionary phase is going to feel quite complex at times. And I think October is probably going to feel like a bit of a complex month, even though when you get to the end of October, I do think you'll feel quite satisfied in terms of the progress with some of the things that may have felt very stagnant or held up for some time for you. Okay, so also keep that in mind. Now, Mars has been working through Libra, but at the end of the month is going to shift into Scorpio. And here we're almost challenged to do the impossible. But 7 of Swords says to me, do you trust yourself? Or do you trust someone else? Okay, so there might be some things that are surfacing in important conversations and relationships through October where you have to place your trust in somebody who says they're going to do something. And I think you might have some slight issues with that, Aries, because I feel like if we look at the track record, I don't think it looks great. Now, maybe even Mercury retrograde is saying this is someone from the past, or there's a revisitation. Yes, it could be an ex, or just, going back to somebody who has perhaps wronged you, or, there's just been something that you have been let down or disappointed in the past. And so we definitely have somebody saying, I want a fresh start. Let me show you, let me prove to you, or let me, try to make up for something. And I feel you kind of really sat on the fence here. Literally, you can see him just sitting here on the top of the log here. I see you really sat on the fence and undecided. I think that's okay, but just make sure that you are not projecting. Because what's going to happen there is it's almost like a self-sabotage move. You know, you kind of put it all on that person. I don't believe that they're going to be able to do this. Therefore, you know, I'm not going to get my expectations up. Well, you know, if we kind of break that down a little bit, Aries, it's almost you just sabotaging, you know, what could be an outcome that you actually seek or something that you actually want. So make sure that you're just manifesting the right things in. I think it's okay to be protective and have boundaries, absolutely. But just make sure that you're not, you know, sort of sending energy off in a direction that you don't actually want it to. Of course, it's really important for you to be able to hold your peace through the course of this month. I think that's going to make a huge difference as to how you're able to access your own sense of inner strength and that spiritual backbone coming through here with strength and the Seven of Swords. You know, you again, it's going to take a lot, isn't it, to kind of rebuild trust. And, you know, this might also be a soul story that's playing out for you yourself, Aries, because you might have been coming at something and tried it 2 or 3 or 4 or, you know, half a dozen times. And, you know, each time you've kind of fallen by the wayside. Maybe it's a fitness regime, you know, maybe it's about trying to start your own business, or maybe it's about getting back out there or trying to work on something, you know, within your own spiritual growth. And it feels like you just kept getting so far and just couldn't find that sense of direction to kind of complete or go all the way. So again, there's just something about you letting go of the guilt, or, you know, letting go of the part of yourself that's not sure you can trust that this time it will work, or this time you'll be able to see it through. And again, that takes this inner resolve. But remember what we said, like going back to what it has that saved you in the past, or where you've demonstrated this amazing capacity for resiliency or confidence, or to be able to kind of beat the odds. This is going to be important for you to sort of pull in energetically, and that's going to help you, I think, in a number of different situations through the course of October. Now, that strength energy also links into the sign of Leo. So again, that might be something to reference either by it being a person or even back to Leo season, July, August, or maybe something we're revisiting or we're dealing with that was going on around that time. We also have the Page of Pentacles coming through here. There's a quietness and almost like a genteel quality to her with this kind of ballerina skirt, and it's made up of beautiful white feathers, and there's this dragonfly of transformation here as she stands on the petal. Now, when we make our way toward the end of October and come up to Samhain, Halloween, and then even the first couple of days in November, the veil is at its thinnest at this time of the year, Aries. And so your capacity to be able to connect with the other side, to loved ones that have passed over, to your own spirit guides, and, you know, to that spiritual energy is really sensitized, and the messages that come through are going to be really beautiful. Now, for me, there's an invitation or an offer that's being made that may be coming in on the practical, earthly sense, but I feel it's been very directed by spirit, and I think you're going to almost have a sense of knowing that that's the case. So look for the opportunity. Jupiter moving direct will make that happen. There'll be a beautiful gift that comes through as a result of that. Like we said, perhaps connection to community, to groups, to friendships, or specifically to your hopes and dreams. But I feel like it really has been engineered by a loved one or one of your spirit guides. And I think their energy is going to be stamped all over it. And I think you're going to have a really strong sense of that when this drops in for you. But I see you being tentative. Perhaps because I feel like a fish out of water, or that isn't for me, or I don't know if I've got what it takes to be able to see myself in that place, in that role, in, you know, that relationship, whatever it is. I think there's a nervousness and almost a feeling of being a little bit frightened of rejection in some aspects, you know, if we dig deeper down into it. And I think that's okay, but there's such a beautiful opportunity for learning here as a result of what this offer invitation is going to present. So I feel like we need to again draw on our strength and trust in ourselves. And, you know, even if that means we have to put some trust in, blind trust or faith in other people or in the universe right now, I think that's going to serve you really well through October if you can kind of come at it from that approach. So let's take a look at these oracle cards and see what they want to deliver to this conversation for us. Oh, nice. Happy. That's beautiful. Okay, well, there's definitely going to be something to celebrate here. It's almost literally like you get given the key to be able to unlock something. Now, it's interesting because your Seven of Swords is holding this egg tightly, and now she's stood on top of the egg and she's joyfully celebrating. There's balloons here. And so, what we can say is that, if there is a situation where you have to put your faith in somebody or in yourself to kind of move through and get to the other side, or what you're hoping for as an outcome, this is certainly indicative that there's going to be something that you'll feel pleasantly surprised about. Okay, and the key for me here as well is just that it's what it does for you, not just in terms of what it might deliver on a physical level, the physical manifestation of what transpires because somebody follows through or you're able to follow through for yourself. But again, it's kind of the transition of this old and new version, because I think what you're going to demonstrate to yourself is like this new approach that you've been able to take, how you've been able to be more patient, more trusting, more calm, less self-sabotaging. It's really going to demonstrate to you your growth, and I think that's to be celebrated as much as whatever the physical outcome is. It's just like how it changes you and how it's allowing you to just step into this new version. Like, I really like that for you. Pay attention, of course, in and around the 26th of the month. That might be important in terms of when this news or outcome is coming through for you, okay? Take a look at the Moonology cards here. Nothing is yet set in stone, mutable moon. Now, the water feels a little bit churned up here, and it's no doubt that many of us are moving through really difficult circumstances and experiences at the moment, and you may feel like your kind of your future is being already mapped out for you, or you feel like you've got nowhere to turn right now, and yet the energy is moving so quickly and it's changing so powerfully. We are on the edge of coming into a new eclipse season next month, so don't really get too concerned at this point in terms of feeling like something is immovable. Particularly during Mercury retrograde, I think we're going to be revisiting anything that's discussed or kind of put forth during that transit anyway, and we're not going to come out of shadow period of that right until November. So bear that in mind as well, because it may mean that you do yourself change your mind about something, or you see other people's minds being changed, or legislation moving or shifting, or just things like, really kind of having a bit of a do-over once we come out of this month as well, okay? So nothing is yet set in stone. Just finally, the Sacred Light Oracle here for you. Divine creation, acceptance, personal commitments, euphoria. I mean, euphoria again with this happiness. So there's definitely something coming to a point of completion that I think you're going to feel personally really validated and vindicated by, Aries, and that's really important. But there's also this aspect of acceptance, self-acceptance, again back to our Seven of Swords. Like, you are going to be challenged this month. You are going to be challenged to kind of really step up and release those things that have helped keep you really stuck. We don't want to wait for the timing to be right, with just a matter of weeks before the end of this year. You still have the opportunity to make some really powerful moves in your life, and to work on how open you are to receiving some of the things that you want, okay? I think that's going to be really important. So conscious connections will be a major theme for you through this month, and I do think you're connecting the dots to become much clearer about what that means for you on a deeply personal level, and how you can create this transition and this bridge between the old and new version of you as you ask yourself these poignant questions. Is it working for me? Does it bring me peace? Is it giving me space to breathe? What is the energy exchange that's going on here? Do I have room to grow in this? So, Aries, this is a general reading for the month of October. If you'd like to join me for the extended version, I'm going to invite you to just think about a question that might not have been answered fully in the main general spread. We'll pull a couple of cards for you just now on that. Okay, let's just clarify this main 9-card spread now as well. So just beginning with the energy of the Chariot. We have the Moon coming in here, and the 9 of Cups. There's that challenge and provocation emerging with the Five of Wands, bit of a volcano moment there. And again, that full moon does have some slightly provocative squares coming through. So you may well be on the receiving end or be the one that has some choice words to say. Wheel of Fortune and Death coming in. There's that unexpected opportunities and really bringing about profound shift and change for you. Oh, nice. Another full with that Queen of Swords energy. So we've got an air sign coming through here. Is it Gemini, Libra or Aquarian? Also Taurus with the Hierophant. But new commitments and agreements, partnerships being discussed. Remember, 8th house energy in Scorpio season. It's really going to put an emphasis around that for you. Family things coming up in this reading for October, Aries. Do we see the devil was literally hiding there? The card came out under the wrong way round, and with the Queen of Cups and the Seven of Swords. So, do we have a water sign here? Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. More water energy. Interesting. There are a lot of voices weighing in around something this month. We have Strength coming through twice and the Tower. You're going to have to really hold your ground on something, I feel. We'll go into a little bit more detail with that. Justice. Do you have a Ten of Swords up there? No, it's a Two of Swords. Okay. Okay, Aries, I'm going to leave it there. If you would like to join me for this extended reading, you can find the link in the description box and the comment section underneath. I value and appreciate you so much, and be sure to check out your rising and your moon sign across the other soul stories, and drop me a comment if it has resonated. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm going to check in with you again next month, and enjoy this beautiful full moon in your sign. You take good care. Bye.